like actually air these things out, talk about these things, and after that, from a mutual standpoint, then it's an agreement that we're gonna move on from that. So I'll just keep mine from that perspective because I don't want to be the one to go down that rabbit hole. And
Well, you not
you
already
know,
opened it up, bro. So nobody. All right. Hey, well, we gonna welcome to the stage none other than Miss Dia. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you, humble dad? How my this? How are you?
doing great, dear. Good to see you again.
That's great. Actually, I had no idea what the 5 second rule was, so I just Googled it right quick.
Thank you for your
So,
honesty.
right, as far as picking something up off the floor, I'm throwing it away in 5 seconds. As far as etiquette, I'll wait 5 seconds before I act, speak. I just get the vibes, and then I'll go. So that's how I feel about it.
That's what's up. And to the one that made the intro, my homie, Mr. CJ. What's good, homie?
What's going on, Brody?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing good, bro.
Hey, what was you thinking when we talked about the 5 second rule?
The same thing, the food, you know what I'm saying? Food hitting the flow. And I'm from the hood, so we picking up. I don't care how, like, I'm eating that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's getting ate, bro. You know what I'm saying? So we don't care nothing about the 5 second rule where I'm from.
Does it matter so it don't matter what type of food it is.
If it's wet, I might not. You know what I'm saying? Like some spaghetti or something, I won't eat that off the floor. But it's just like
okay,
a piece of chicken or something. Oh yeah, okay, all right.
I'm just messing with you. Hey, and we got Big Brody on the stage tonight. DJ, uncle, tech guy, whatever you want to call him. Uncle Ricky in the building. How you doing today, sir?
Good, everybody. How y'all doing?
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Hey, Ricky.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
What's up with you, Martavius?
How you doing, Rick? Good to see you, man.
Hey, thanks, man. Everything's everything. What's the question, man?
The question is, how do you feel about the 5 second rule?
When I'm mad?
It can be however you want to, whatever context you want to put on it. So it's up to you.
I try to use the 5 second rule when it comes to responding, but I never listen to myself.
How do you not listen to yourself and you give really good advice?
Ain't that the mystery of life?
Yeah. that's fair. That's very fair.
No, I think you should. I think you should stop and think in most cases. You know what I mean? 5 seconds is a little too short for me. I think you should take about 60 seconds of stopping. At least take a gander over the ridge to see what's out there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we act without thinking. So I always try to, take a couple of seconds like, man, but most times I'll be like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? Just cuss you out. It don't matter. No, I'm just playing.
you playing, but you serious?
Yeah.
That's what's for sure. Hey, and Mistaken, are you ready?
Mistaken. Big-eyed girl.
Did you call her the big-eyed girl?
Yeah, we make our eyes big when she be talking. You'll see. Watch.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Hey, so in the meantime, while she's getting everything ready, we're gonna kind of start with the conversation about relationships. But we're gonna, since Ms. Taken kind of started this, I'm gonna change my first question. And I was talking to somebody, and I don't know if y'all had this situation, but women oftentimes say that men are thirsty if he's approaching her and trying to pursue her sexually. Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's okay for her to initiate, but she would not necessarily consider herself thirsty. So I guess this is the question, and I'm a piggyback off of it because she was talking about the 5 second rule in the fair rule. So I said, okay, let me see what they say about this. Where is it? All right. Who initiates sex in the first stages of relationships? Who initiates sex in the first stages of relationship. Whoever want to go first can go first, and then you choose who goes next.
I'm just saying. I ain't never asked for no butt. I'm just saying. Right? I think it's an insult to me if I gotta ask you for some. To me, that's just me. I think personally, like if you were with somebody you vibe with, you know what I'm saying, and she a grown woman, right? It's gonna happen eventually, right? It's gonna happen eventually. Don't be pressed. Don't be pressed for it. Like I'm just saying, in my experience, I can't speak for nobody else. In my experience, girls was asking me like, "Why you ain't trying to have sex with me?" I'm like, "What you talking about, shorty?" Never press for it. Never press. I asked one person for some butt, and that's my wife I got now. One. That was it. Rest on. So most women initiate sex first. They always want to put it on the men. They always want to put it on the men, but they initiate it. You know what I'm saying? Come back to my place. I'll cook you dinner. Next thing you know, y'all laying up and she got her hands down your pants. Y'all know what y'all be doing. But I digress.
Who you got responded to?
I got File 100. I got my boy over there.
Hey, before you go, I'm gonna bring up the person that started this conversation. Mistaken.
You muted.
Mute.
Muted.
I said I wasn't starting. I was just joking.
Listen, jokes do that. So how do you feel about the 5-second rule?
Oh, I'm down for the 5-second rule. It all depends on my definition of the 5-second rule is if you drop something, do you eat it? And yes, but it all depends on where it's dropped.
You nasty.
If it's dropped in my house, I know my germs. I know I'm up my kitchen floor. But if I'm like out in public, like if I drop something on the street or something, nah, I wouldn't do that. But if it's my house, my germs, I'm good. Yes, I'm gonna eat. I will eat it.
Okay. All right, cool. So follow to the question. So who initiates sex in the first stages of relationship?
For me personally, I want the man to initiate, but I will make room for him to know that I'm open. So I just think it's proper for a man to initiate it.
So interesting.
But in a marriage is whoever.
We not. That's not where we at.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You said first stage of first stage. Yeah, I would want a man to initiate. And if I'm ready, I would say yes. If I'm not, but it gives me the option. But yeah.
Okay. Who you got going next? Ricky's the only one that's went so far.
All right, Martavius.
I'm gonna have to be honest. I'm gonna say I did, and I'm gonna say men do. I just come from. I play sports, so I'm surrounded by just athletes that, for some reason, we just had something in common when it came to women, and I think it just comes with maturity. And as you start to grow, you see these things aren't good. So just from that perspective, just from hearing conversations throughout the locker room with homeboys, with friends, I'm gonna just have to go with guys, just from the majority of guys that I've been surrounded with.
Short and sweet to the point. Who you got going next?
I'm gonna go Miss Dia.
I'll say for comfort purposes, it should be the woman in the beginning of a relationship, just because of comfort. And I think it'll be easier on the man. So if she's interested, then she needs to, So I would. That's it. So we can go with CJ since he's the only one that hasn't went. Well, beside you, Humble Dad.
For sure.
In my experience, they usually initiate it, but it might not be physical. You know what I'm saying? Like more times than not, they won't make the physical move, But you know, they'll do a little something, you know what I'm saying? Make that little certain move in the kitchen, you dig what I'm saying? Something like that, you feel me? Just let you know that she ready for it, but she might not make the actual move. So in my experience, you know, they toot that thing up and let me know it's ready to go. So I'm with
Toot
all
that
that.
thing up, shorty.
That's it. So they toot the thing up and let you know that they ready. All right. So
Mhm.
that's probably like a metaphor, I would assume.
Sort of, kind of, not really.
But so what does it mean when we say we waiting for her to give us some? Right? If we're the initiators, how can we? She's giving it to us, correct? Right? I mean,
I
we
always
give her
feel like I'm
we
giving it to her.
right. I mean, you giving her something. I mean, you know, when you get in there, but let's be honest, my guy, right? What you be saying, you like after you, hey, she finally gave me some, right? Ain't that what we
Yeah,
say?
But
yeah.
women talk,
Well, I finally got it. Yeah.
Right.
or women like, and I don't mean in a grape way, but like women like when a man take it. Like it's something about that aspect of it. So, and
No.
like I said, I'm not talking in a grape way.
That happens after the initiation.
Oh, well, that's why I was going, Ricky. Can I
That
chime
happens
in?
after the
Go ahead,
fact,
Ricky.
right? You got to give yourself up to me. That's why I don't succumb to the logic when men say another man conquered your woman. No, he didn't. She gave it up to him. There's no conquering. He didn't conquer nothing. She voluntarily gave herself up to him. You don't conquer your woman. It's a mutual exchange. That's what men get the game. No, she just saw something in that man that she didn't see in you, but he ain't conquer her. She gave him some butt.
I will admit my perspective as I get a little older is starting to change. Because I used to think that, you know, because I've had women tell me that they F men, right? I've always like, no, we F y'all. But like the older I'm getting, bro, I'm starting to see like they getting treacherous out here, bro. Like
No, I
they
hear
get
what you're saying.
active like us.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, but again, it's not about the wording is confused because it make them feel a certain way about themselves. You know what I'm saying? But what they don't understand is the dynamics of it, right? That's what they don't understand, the dynamics of it. Because the truth is, and ladies don't ever want to say this, and some men don't want to admit that. If I get you and I get you right, as a woman, if I get you right, fellas, y'all know what it is.
Yeah.
That's what dudes be scared of. If I hit that spot, if I'm like that, that's when the trouble right. That's where the trouble starts. That's where the power dynamic shifts.
Yeah.
That's where it shifts. But the dynamics is in her, is in it. That's why I keep telling Miss Taken. She never listens, right? But we all responsible for what we're responsible for. You guys hold the key to sex. You do, ladies, until y'all admit this, nothing will ever get right. It'll never get right. You guys control it. You are the security guard. That key card, boop, that's y'all card. Now, if you happen to give it to the wrong dude, you just messed up. Right? But that's just how it goes. Like I keep trying, the game don't change, ladies and gentlemen. Only the players. The game if I'm on point, right? If I'm on point as a man, I'm on point. I'm taking care of the house. I'm taking care of the kids, the car, the bill. You straight. And I'm knocking you down right. Ain't gonna be no problems, baby. And if it is, you just a hoe.
Hey, Dia, you gonna respond to
that? You on mute? Oh, okay.
I agree that if all is well, then it ain't no problems. But as far as the key, are we speaking in general or after marriage? Because after marriage, then it ain't no key.
No, I'm talking about the initial access that start this whole thing we call relationships.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? A relationship not nothing until we have sex. It's not nothing, right? Because
if you ain't gave none, then you ain't lost nothing.
Right. It's holla. It's so much to the point, dear, that if a dude took you on a date, he sees it they see it now as a detriment. Man, I didn't took out for 3 dates, and you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So
because
homecoming.
Right.
That shouldn't have been his purpose then.
Exactly. Well, that's a different conversation, right? That's a different conversation, right? But what I'm saying is that if we're talking about these relationship things as men and women, we all can only control what we control. The problem is that women want us to control what they supposed to control, right? No, y'all supposed to control a box. You guys control the sexual marketplace. I understand that's a talking point and everybody use it, but it's the truth. If you guys held a higher standard for yourself with the people y'all have sex with, y'all wouldn't go through 90% of the stuff y'all go through with men.
I agree.
And the women that know this got good men in their life. They live in plush. You know what I'm saying? Y'all taking flights and vacations and on this thing talking about how your husband take care of you. You see what I'm saying? Like the blueprint been there forever, but don't nobody want to follow it because they want somebody else to do some work that they were supposed to do.
Why ain't nobody teaching it? That's why we here.
No, they teaching it, baby. They just don't listen. I'm being honest.
You right. Okay.
They just don't listen.
I just had this conversation a couple of days ago.
Like I said, I help all my daughters and my sons and my nephews, right? Information is nothing if it's not shared. It's a waste of time and energy, right? So
but most of us ain't getting it though. It's just the reality.
I understand. See, but if we want to get to the bottom of it, then that's your parents' fault, right? So again, and this is what I talk about, how our people, we continually perpetuate the same supposedly generational curses. They're not generational curses. People just don't talk. They don't tell on themselves. We not honest with ourselves, right? So the very things that we complain about today with relationships, how girls are so masculine, how boys are not masculine enough, right? That's because 9 times out of 10, you didn't have a mother or father, right, to dictate and teach you the ways of the Wu-Tang, which again, because you don't have those lessons, you make the same mistakes that the other lessons they didn't get. Right. So, like I said, go ahead, bro.
At what point? Because I've had this conversation many times in the barbershop with my OGs. Mm-hmm. At what point is the way you wasn't raised? At what point is the way you raised an excuse for what you're not doing today?
Once you become grown, you're not grown until you take responsibility for yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm not, and I don't approve, CJ, of people who continue to use the victimization excuse. Mm-hmm. No one, you ain't got no excuses, right? Mm-hmm. If you want results, you got to go a functional way about getting things done. It's no different. A relationship is no different than you going to the job or going to the grocery store. You got a certain method to the madness. And as long as you play by the rules, it'll work out. But like I said, people don't want to play by the rules no more.
Let me ask y'all a question.
This is where you and I had differed. It's not that I did not agree with you in terms of women control access to sex. It wasn't that. My difference is in terms of responsibility when it comes to sex. And I hold both people accountable when it comes to that. Like you talked about the lock or whatever, but the lock, you need a key to open the lock. So I think men are the key, the women are the lock. And in order for them to work, they have to work together, right? And so in that regard, what I was talking about is how men put the responsibility and the ownership only on the women when it comes to sex and like unwanted pregnancy or something like that. Whereas what I was saying is both partners' responsibility. Whoever don't want the baby need to make sure they're the primary one, making sure that they are protecting themselves from a pregnancy. And, whatever consequences come of that, because both are being irresponsible, then the woman can't flip on a man about, oh, you got me pregnant, or the man can't flip on a woman about, oh, you got yourself pregnant. Like that was what I was referring to. I think they're equally responsible.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I ain't tripping off that. But like I told you, responsibility and accountability are two totally different things, right? Both are accountable. But the truth is, let's be honest, in the long scheme of things, on average, women, if you have a baby, you're going to be held responsible for it.
Absolutely.
Right? So whether you got yourself pregnant, I don't care what nobody say, because this is the dynamics in which it works. Y'all, you can't do that. You can't continue to try to wrap your mind around something and it doesn't work that way. You will never get anywhere. The truth of the matter is that even though you guys both should be held accountable, the responsibilities of a child for 23 years, because everybody wants everything, and more than likely you're gonna send your kid to college. So that's 23 years, right? So for 23 years, more than likely the woman's gonna be responsible for the child. That means their upkeep, that means their well-being, that means their financial state, right? So again, that's why I get on y'all women. My women. I don't give a damn what them crackers doing. My women. Y'all can't say y'all do everything right, and these kids keep coming out the way they do.
Well, I think kids have a mind of their own. You can talk to you blue in the face.
Yes,
you can do as much as possible. And at the end of the day, they came here to learn just like we did. We in the university.
I understand.
And they're gonna make choices. I agree 100% with the accountability and responsibility thing.
I agree.
And the feminine thing, I think that's about personal accountability and responsibility, because at the end of the day, no matter what you have or who you have in your life, how they traumatized you or any of that, you have to take responsibility for the fact that you attracted that person and ask yourself, what was going on with me that this person came into my life?
You allowed them around you.
That's period. So that was for a reason.
So when we had these conversations, right? Like I always think about myself first. Okay, what am I responsible for? What would I be held accountable for? Right. But when I'm talking to a person, let's say I'm talking to a woman that doesn't understand why dudes run off when she gets pregnant, right? I'm just talking to her. I'm holding her responsible at the time. If I'm talking to a man that is irresponsible with his Johnson or whatever, I'm telling him I'm not going to talk about the other person because the other person ain't there. So I'm just talking to the person that I know I'm having a conversation with. And I'm like, bro, you're responsible for what you did. I don't know why we overcomplicate that.
Oh, I agree.
Not you. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
What we do is we say this woman is more accountable. And in a grand scheme of things, I guess I could agree. But if I'm talking to a man, I'm not going to tell him she's more accountable because I'm really concerned with the person I'm talking to. So if it's you letting off in her, bro, I'm gonna only talk about you. I'm not gonna talk about her because I don't know her. So I'm only looking at it from one side of the coin because I'm only talking to one side of the coin. I just think I
get that, but the reality of it is what's gonna happen the other 23 years, like Ricky said, outside of that. You talking about a conversation when it comes to a man, but the reality of it is the woman is carrying that baby, so she don't have a choice in that matter. And I speak from personal experience. I had my son before I got married, and my advice from my sister was, if you're not ready to do it by yourself, don't do it. And that's where I made my decision. And I decided that I was going to do it, but I was willing to do it alone. Now, does that negate the fact
have the baby or
have the baby? I had my son. And I was ready to do it alone. Did I want to? Was it just my responsibility? Absolutely not. But I knew that was a chance that I was taking. That was the gamble. Would it take him off the hook or negate the fact that he would be irresponsible and have to deal with what was going to come after that? Because to me, if you're not taking care of your seed, then you just a sorry human being. And any woman that's with a man that has children that he's not being responsible for is not fit to be a man or a father, in my opinion. So as far as the woman is concerned, that's on her. I mean, I have sons, so I get the one-on-one conversation. I can't see allowing my son to continue to be just my son without a whole lot of other things going on in my mind if he did neglect his responsibility. But at the end of the day, it's going to be on that young woman. That
I think that also depends on how I guess the way that we talk about it, because I know, like, I did the same thing as you. Unfortunately, I did things out of order, but I am married to my son's dad. But I went in a situation with understanding we went half on a baby. And I seriously meant that. Like, even if we were not together, he was going to help. And that wasn't going to be a situation where, like, you just get the baby on weekends or what have you. Like, I already had it, knew where he lived, ready to move in the same apartment building where he at downstairs. Like, I'm stalking your behind because I will not be doing this by myself. And not that he was that type, but I had made it up in my mind that I was not going to do it alone. You were going to be responsible, accountable, however you want, whatever you want to call it. And I know, like, for some people, they're like, well, you can't make anybody do something they don't want to do. And I get that, but I'm not going to make it easy for you to not do what you're supposed to do.
No, it wasn't.
So for me, but then I also say it's a way that we approach, like when we keep pushing a narrative of just talking to the girls about, you know, you got to make sure you don't get pregnant. You're going to be the one that has going to have to be responsible. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but those same conversations need to be had with young boys, like with my son. Me and his dad were talking, and that was a conversation that I had with him. You better make sure that you protect yourself. You better make sure that you're wearing condoms. Do not trust somebody else to take care of a responsibility that you're supposed to be responsible for, because if you get somebody pregnant, your life is going to change.
See, that was my point.
But I'm gonna come to Montavious.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Ms. Staken. You can finish your thought.
Oh, so in that conversation, I explained to him what that would look like. Like, my thing was, like, everybody expects, oh, the woman is going to have to drop out of school. She's going to have to do X to taking care of the child. But for me, in our household, the way his dad is and the way that I am, you will not be in a situation where this woman is sacrificing everything for an issue that you helped create. So your life is going to also be adjusted. If you have to make some moves to, not that I would want him to drop out of school, but it would be like, no, you're going to be working and you're going to be going to school and you're going to be contributing to helping raising this kid, you know, or what have you. So that was the conversation, that how we had that conversation. Our conversations with our daughter and our son were pretty much the same in regards to taking personal accountability by protecting yourself. And if you end up getting pregnant or getting someone pregnant, your life is going to change because you're going to be responsible for taking care of that child.
Come on, Mr. Young, what you got?
Man, I'm learning. That's a lot. Like I said, when I came in,
it was a totally different question.
Yeah, it was. But that's a good thing. Yeah, because I just going back to what Rick said earlier. He talked about like the blueprint is laid, and like for me, it's like he was talking about like the generational curses and all these things. And for me, it's like almost going back to the point we talk about responsibility and accountability. It's like, who are you getting the blueprint from? So when we talk about the generational curses, the reason that people are building on the wrong foundation, or foundation with solace in it, because they've getting the information from people who pretty much did the same thing, and they're almost going in circles instead of moving forward, doing something different. So I think I grew up from that same mindset. So when I talk about men initiate first, like that's what I saw. Like my grandpa used to tell me all the time when I had a lot of kids, is you keeping the name going. And for me, I knew what he was talking about. It wasn't like from a legacy standpoint. It was the fact that you're still creating my grandbabies for me. So I think it just stems down to like, who are you getting the information from? Like me being young and immature, I would love to have run into one of you guys, but I didn't. The people who I ran into were the people who were still out in the streets, still doing the same thing that they was doing when they was in middle school and high school. And they're just continuing to pass that along, not only to me, but the kids that's younger to me, because they're still in my hometown doing the same old things that they did back then. So for me, I say like the information is out there, but the kids are so drawn to what's going on, what's flashy, what they see in the hometowns or whatever the case may be, the petty things, that's what they're more attracted to, opposed to sitting on something like this, getting information that's going to really change and affect their life for the better. So for me, it just I'm just interested in the conversation you guys are having, because it's literally shifting my mindset to see things from a different perspective. Because like I said, I'm sports. So when you just surrounded by athletes all the time, like the number one goal was to get women. So that was all the perspective was. And like I said, when you decide to make that change, it isn't that you're doing something different, it's you're getting a different environment. So when I started to learn and I started to grow, it was people who was thinking outside of the box that I was in. So now I'm seeing things from a totally different level. And that allowed me to go out and actually start living a totally different life. So for me, I think the information is there. I just think people are getting the information from the wrong vessels, and that's why we continue to see these repetitive cycles continue in our communities and with just the younger kids today.
That's what's up. So, like, the initial conversation was about who initiates first.
It
Go ahead.
was.
Yeah, did you want to say something, Dee?
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate right quick and just say that when my decision and having my son, despite what or how his dad was going to respond, was totally my decision. It had nothing to do with the person he was, the person he was willing to be, or anything like that, because he was a stand-up guy. That's my husband now. And he stepped past the plate. And we have another son as a result of it. But I didn't make that decision based on anything that had to do with him. I knew that I had to make it based on me, where I was, just in case anything else happened. So it had absolutely nothing to do with how he was going to show up, if he was going to show up, or when he showed up. I didn't consider any of that, because that would have been my child, period.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. Everybody should assume responsibility and accountability before it even starts.
Total.
Right. So, like, for guys, I mean, you should be protecting your seed because, at the end of the day, if you sleep with somebody that you didn't want to have a baby by, then that's on you, and then vice versa. Women, yes, you have control you actually control the access to sex, I mean, that's just what it is, right? Women are not coming up to dudes and you know what I'm saying, and saying, can you sleep with me on the regular? What I'm saying is it's okay, TJ.
Today, it's a different game today, bro. I keep telling you.
What I'm saying, you're probably talking about an anomaly of women, is what I'm saying, because most dudes are not getting sex like that, right?
The dudes that are getting it and they approaching us,
right? But that's my whole point, though. That's a select few of dudes that's been being approached by women. Mm-hmm. So therefore,
and they're not all Pookies and Ray Rays either. Like some of us just handsome. That's all.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. And so what I'm saying is, though, women those type of women know that they control that access. That's what I'm saying, because they're approaching you because they know that what their femininity in that regard, or they're becoming masculine, so they understand that they can say, okay, I can go get whoever I want to. Right. We talked about on a different podcast about maybe it was last week, who does a better job of taking rejection. Right. Do you think that women that you approach, they approach you, they're gonna be like, you say nah, and they just went, oh, okay, and just go on?
Nah.
Exactly. Because they know they control access to sex. That's what I'm saying. Because they would say, why would you tell me no? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? How you gonna pass this up? Right. So nevertheless, each person should I think, the best thing is abstinence, really, at the end of the day, because you avoid a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know that I missed a lot of opportunities where I could have had babies before I was married. I mean, that happened. But one of the girls ended up having an abortion and whatnot, right? So, but I did not protect myself in regards to that. So that would have been on me that I didn't make a good decision, right? So it's important. And I like what CJ was saying. The person that's in front of you is who you talk to. However, at the end of the day, once again, the woman typically is initiating, in my estimation, initiating the sex. The guy may approach her, right? And automatically she should know that he wants sex. But typically, I can go from my experience and a lot of other guys' experience, that the woman is the one that wants to initiate it in the beginning. Why? Because they don't want to seem as if they give it up to this guy when he approaches, that she's too easy, right? So she wants to have that control in that regard. However, transitioning, when we get married, it seems to be a little different from some of the podcasts I've been looking at, that wives are a little less reluctant to initiate. Agree, disagree, let's talk about it. That women approach in the beginning as far as initiate the sex in the beginning of a relationship, but once it gets into the comfortability stage, now it's like, okay, man, you should be asking me more often, because as Miss Taker said, we like to be chased. I'll let you go first, Mistaken.
I still think, well, I guess it's just me. Like when you were saying in terms of the initiation piece, like initially in the beginning stages, I guess I can only speak from my experience is that I don't think I ever initiated, but I made myself open. So to like throwing cues and
that is an initiation, man.
Like the alley-oop, you know what I'm saying? But that is not necessarily initiation in terms of like, because if I didn't want to do something and he came on to me, I made it clear that like, nah, you know what I'm saying? But let's say it's a situation, if he comes on to me and I don't pull away, that's not me initiating. He's initiating it, but I'm making it open for him to go further, is what I'm saying. I don't do that. So is that not like if I'm not doing anything and he makes it clear that he wants to, and I make myself open to being like, okay, I'm okay with this. Is that me initiating or him initiating?
May I explain why? Because your statement was, from your own words, you said that if he comes on to me and I say no, then it doesn't go.
But in that instance, isn't he initiating?
Okay, we'll go with that. He initiated. However, it doesn't actually happen until you initiate.
No, because in that same scenario, I said if he then comes on to me, but I don't pull away, that's not me initiating. I'm being open to his initial response.
Okay, got you. So we transition into, then we get into the marriage. You're saying now
I'm taking it. And he ain't gotta ask. I'm taking it. But yeah, in that
so you're taking it. Okay.
Yeah, in that case, I don't think it's either or. Like, I don't think it's anybody's responsibility to like initiate. It's just like when you feel like it, then you take it. Or you give it up willingly, whatever way you want to say it. I just don't think I can't lie. I do appreciate a lot more him initiating or, taking it rather than me. And we actually had a conversation about that because I think men do want women to initiate more, because it's like what he explained to me is just like how if I initiate, it makes you feel wanted. Sometimes you taking that initiation without me having to do it, and you take the lead on that, it makes me feel wanted. So I had to kind of,
Interesting though, right?
Yeah.
Martavius, what's your thought, bro?
Marriage, I think it can go either way. Like I said, we big on love language. So my wife is words of affirmation, mine's physical touch. So if it was up to me, like I can initiate every day, but sometimes she wants to kind of remind me like how much she loves me, and she decides to initiate it sometimes. So I think it can go both ways, and sometimes it don't have to necessarily be physical in that manner. Me just doing things of like just reminding her that I love her, words of affirmation, and I could possibly lead to something, not saying it do, but we do have 5 kids so together. So I think it could go both ways when it comes to marriage, just depending on your relationship and you guys' dynamic, and like I said, just how it is in the season that you're in as well. I'll go to Miss Dia.
What was the question again? I'm sorry. I heard something about initiation.
Yeah, like we was talking about how women pretty much give the initiation. Like, Miss Taken saying her husband initiated, but I'm saying that when she say, listen, when she gives those cues, right, that's initiation. That's in the first stages, right? But however, when it gets to a marriage, that's in the beginning. But when it gets to a marriage, it seems that women are less likely to initiate, from what I've been looking at, okay, or hearing, right? That so why is it then that they stop initiating, as opposed to once we're in the marriage, this the guy you say you want to be with? Why are they less likely to initiate, or do you see it as something different?
Yeah, I I don't think that they do. Stop. Initially, I haven't seen any of those statistics that you talked about, but I think it's mutual. It's a two-way street. And then I think you guys misconstrue initiation as well. Because if we spoon it, we could be laying in the bed and you just automatically assume that if you bagging it up, that means, and that's not the intention. I could be cold.
No, that is the intention. Hell no.
No, it is not.
You bagging it up. You trying to get
You
slaved.
that's what cover is for.
Stay warm. And that
put them buns on me. It's going down.
But it ain't no confusion when it comes to initiation. When you married, I think it is what it is. If that's what I'm on, then I'm gonna say it all day. Or I'm gonna, I don't have a problem with initiating anything. So I disagree. We have two different love languages though, and my primary would be physical touch. So that could be, it doesn't have to be sexual, but that's how so I don't have a problem. I can't speak for everybody. I didn't see those statistics, Humble Dad.
Listen, I can go get them. I'm researching.
I don't believe the statistics because who they asking these questions to?
Oh, here we go, bro.
Seriously, I don't.
Well, so just so you know, and Ms. Taken should be able to say it as well. Like when there's a study done, there is a council. Like I think it's the APA, MPA. Like they give like what is the number that can be researched to say that it's a qualified study, right? And so the maximum to get a legitimate statement, like the maximum is probably like 1,000, maybe 2,000. But there are some studies that do like 14,000, right, and 20,000. And of course, there's different demographics, but the best study is a random study. So like people that just walked out of Walmart and you ask them a question, but then you would say, okay, what Walmart was that in? Well, it wouldn't really matter because they're still random people. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. So people try not to go with stats. However, typically if it has been peer reviewed, then it's a solid study, even if you disagree with the data. That's just coming from an educated person.
Okay.
Scholarly, if I will. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so what you got, CJ?
I mean, I think it stay the same, to be honest. Like did they initiate when you going through the dating stages or whatever, and they initiate in the marriage. But I would ask this question though, like when they do these studies, are they factoring in that she just had a baby? Are they factoring in that maybe his soldiers ain't marching how they used to be? Like, are these things included in the study? Because I didn't have that, even though I'm divorced now, but I didn't have that issue as far as like one thing we did right was sex. You know what I mean? So I never really went through she keeping the buns from me. That just wasn't going on. I mean, she was coming at me. That's usually how it went. I might have touched her first, but like Miss Dia said, if she took that thing back in the bed with spoon, it's going down. Like it's no way around it. It's going down. It's just me. Maybe I'm tripping.
So now we can't even sleep comfortable. We gotta sleep on the other side of the bed just to avoid miscommunication.
Always an excuse for you, ain't it, mistaken? Always something, ain't it?
What you got on it, Ricky?
What was the question?
Watch the replay. Okay, I'll ask it a different way. Do women initiate in marriage as often as they initiate in the first stages of a relationship? I'll ask that question to you.
Oh man, that's in general probably not, to be honest with you. In general, probably not. Especially in long-term relationships. I mean, like I said, I can only hit you from the back so many times. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's just the nature of people, though. You get in, you get comfortable, you get cozy. And like it's not necessary. Huh?
What you say? What was the word you just used? Maker? What'd you say?
I don't know.
You said it wasn't what people.
It wasn't what you
Yeah,
said. You know,
nature.
it's the nature of
Nature
people.
people. Oh,
It's the
okay,
nature
okay,
of people, especially if you like y'all got to understand. I've been together with my wife for almost 27 years, right? I just think most women don't do it. Like it just you get comfortable. I think everybody get comfortable. I mean, it's steady, but it's not like when y'all was shorties. You know what I'm saying? Like in the car, outside. You know what I'm saying? You know.
That's a
You know
good
what I'm
point.
saying? Like when it be popping. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, no holds barred. You know what I'm saying? To get a little bit more subdued. But if you ask my personal opinion, in most cases, because we do speak in general here, in most cases, with most relationships, like my opinion is that when a woman get her man, she kind of like, hey, you know what I'm saying? After a while, you know, I got him now. You know.
Can I be transparent about something? And I think, and I read research because I didn't know why, but I also think it also depends on your age as well. Because I think in your younger, well, I'll speak for, in your younger years too, when you're just dating, everything is kind of new. Y'all don't live with each other. So every time you see each other, I think both parties are like, oh, at it like rabbits. But I noticed as I got older, initiation increased more from me. It's like, I don't know. And they say like women, their libido sometimes increases as they get older. And so I think that may make a difference as well. Where I noticed in the younger years of our marriage, it was majority of the time him initiating. And now that we're, I guess, in a older part of our marriage, the initiation on my end is much more frequent.
And just to finish, it's like also I think the fantasy of each other wears off. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to be honest about it, you know what I'm saying? You've been with this person 10, 20 years, you know what I'm saying? You done went through stuff with each other, the fantasy wears off.
Fantasy,
the fact
like
of the matter.
Mystique? Like
yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I guess.
Definitely. Because if we being honest, you know, I don't lines behind me, right? If we being honest, you know, when you first meet that person and the sexual attraction is as high as is when you don't know everything that person gonna do, what they done did, you know what I'm saying? What they gonna put you through. You know what I'm saying? What they're about to put you through, what you gonna put them through, right? And those things have effect on the relationship. If you deny that, then you're something wrong with you, right? So I think it's a little bit of all that. So
have y'all ever dealt with a woman? I mean, I don't know if I should actually marry me. Well, y'all all married. Damn. Well, have y'all ever went
Why you
through?
upset that we married, bro? Like,
I mean, I'm not upset. I ain't upset that you
damn,
married.
all married.
It's just like the question I got is kind of, you know what I'm saying? But look, have y'all ever dealt with a woman in your life that got off on rejecting you, but when y'all had sex, it was amazing?
Nah.
No. I just went through that with a young child. It was fun, but I had to cut it off. I was just
it wasn't reject. She liked to fight, and then after we fought, she was brazy.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy on both ends. But
I know it. I know all about it. Okay.
Hey.
Why did you want to know that question?
Huh?
Makeup sex, that's psychological.
Yeah, it was toxic as fuck. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah, toxic be the best sometimes.
It was
you
toxic.
shouldn't do it, but yeah.
Hormonally speaking.
I ain't gonna lie to you though. Yeah.
That little thing has some power.
Boy, don't talk about it. Let's move on. Moving on to the
next. So that's good. So I guess the consensus is that in marriage it should be one of those things that you both are initiating. It says, I put in the back chat, let's talk sex.net where they do research. You would have to kind of do a deep dive to see who it is that they study and how many people. But it says that one of the stats is that 70% of the time women initiate divorce and sexless marriages. Then there was another stat that showed what was it? I can't find where it was. It was talking about that. Let's see. In Japan, there's 47% of marriages are being sexless.
Kodokoshi.
Right, that's in Japan. Right, so there are so basically, if it's a sexless marriage, because I think I seen once that 1 in 4 marriages are sexless, right? Then it would be interesting to take note of who is it that's not initiating, right?
Mhm.
But nevertheless, I digress. So we transition to kind of getting towards the main part of the conversation. And we talk about the table a lot, right? What does she bring to the table? What does he bring to? I don't even know if they say what does the guy bring to the table, right? But let's talk about it. What does a guy? What do men? Or how can a man separate himself from the competition? How can a man that's out there separate himself from the competition? Anybody can go.
I would say by being a leader, not dominating, but an actual leader, because it's the difference. And I think that a man's natural masculinity is extremely important. I don't think that women have a problem, like they saying out in the streets, with submitting to a man. It's just a lot of men don't act like men, like masculine men. And I think that's the issue. So I think what he needs to bring to the table is his ability to provide, protect, and masculine energy, and that's going to be contingent on what she requires as a woman, because that might be different for women. But I don't mind being held accountable. Like, I need that because I'm always working on myself. So it's important to me to have my husband tell me what it is that he needs from me, and that needs to be kind of consistent. I should know, but people change, and we've been together for a really, really long time. So I know for a fact that people change. It's not something that I heard, it's something that I know. So my needs are gonna change, and so will his. So we need to be in constant communication about what it is that we need. I don't have a problem with modifying my behaviors, my thoughts, whatever it is that I need to do to make him comfortable. Um, in general speaking, what a man needs, I don't know what women these days want. It seems to be something totally different than what I was expecting. My life has been pretty traditional. Um, my husband worked. I was able to stay at home if that's what I chose to do. My responsibilities was to preserve our marriage with
That's
learning any
called slavery
skills.
today.
What's called
Yeah.
slavery?
What you talking about right now? That's called
I
slavery
mean,
today.
I think I was kind of teetering on that because everybody was, I mean, from the outside looking in, I think, judge me. They wouldn't say it to me, of course, but because I was at home taking care of my kids, taking care of my house, and taking care of my man, I think that was kind of shunned, but it was quiet. I would hear the whispers, but I didn't care about that. I could do what I wanted to do. It was my choice whether I wanted to work or not. And I did work. I just didn't work in a sense where I was required to go outside of the house. But I did go outside of the house to educate myself about whatever it was that we plan to do. If we were in real estate, then I went to carpentry school. I went to real estate school. I got my loan originator license. I educated myself. Whatever it was that he needed me to do that was going to contribute to our legacy, that was the part that I decided to play. Plus, I took care of the house. Plus, I took care of my kids. And he worked to make sure that I could do that. And that's what I would think that any woman would want. So I don't know. I mean, I have 7, 8 nieces, and I talk to them, and they don't have a untraditional mindset. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the street as far as like no from experience. I only know what I see. and it's a lot of confusion. But I think that's because of the way people showing up. And I don't think that a lot of women these days have had access or experienced a real man, meaning that they are able to be comfortable with how men are showing up these days. Because I don't understand a woman saying that I don't need a man. I think a woman that's able to say something like that has never experienced a man. Like not a man, you know, from my perspective, what a man is and how men have shown up in my life. My dad was like God to me before I figured out that it was something maybe outside of myself. So, and I had access to good men. I saw good men, and I had some terrible ones too, but I was able to make that distinction. So I think men just need to be able to provide, protect, and show up in the way that woman needs, whatever those requirements are. But my requirements were met for the most part.
CJ, what you got? I heard you over there sign.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm tired, bro. But I somewhat agree with what you're saying, but this is what I think you got to do to separate yourself from the competition. Take some sex classes, because what these folks want today, what they want today is somebody they can lay the wood, bro. Like that's paramount. Like that's the number one thing today. I'm sorry, it's just the facts.
There got to be some years before that even go down.
Wow,
that happens quick. It's like, man, look.
He out in these streets. He out in these streets. Y'all better listen to him. He out in these streets.
Yeah, go ahead, TJ.
Like it's like they don't ask about a rubber. They don't ask you to get tested. Like sex is so easy to get, bro. So a lot of guys don't know what they're doing. At least that's what I'm told. The studies say 70% of women are not having orgasms. The last chick I was dealing with claimed she didn't have an orgasm. She had one pretty quick with me. But I think she was lying, honestly. But whatever. But the point is, she valued the sex more than anything else. Like when I came in her spot, I saw her shower thing was messed up, right? So the next time I came over, I had bought a new shower head, the one you could detach. You know what I'm saying? Do your little thing with, make your life a little easier. You dig what I'm saying?
That's a smart man. That's a smart man right there. Shout out to you, my guy.
I'm telling you, I did all that. But what she really valued more than anything, that other stuff really didn't even matter. It was you know what I'm saying? It was that. Like that's really all that mattered today. So I'm not being serious when I say you should take a sex class, but if we talking about how you can separate yourself from the competition, they say that men don't know what they're doing sexually. So if you know what you're doing sexually, you'll last a lot longer than a provider guy. That is the truth today.
I can't speak to that because I've been out of the streets for a minute, but I would think for a woman, it's going to take more than that. Because I will look at it from a sense like if I'm looking at all things being equal, kind of like what Dee was saying, if you have a certain standard. So she said, I'm looking for a leader, somebody who know how to protect and provide. So my thing is all things being equal, and you have two men that you can go either way with, like both of them will be a good protector and provider. What is going to set one apart from the other? That was how I was looking at that question. And for me, if all things being equal, the one thing that would set one guy apart from another would be, and we were talking about it on, I think, Friday, but like having, or was it Sunday, a connection. Is being able to have a connection with that person. And people are like, oh, there's no such thing as that, but I think for me as a woman, the connection is very important. And that connection for me specifically would be along the lines of me feeling like I can completely be who I am around you 100%. I don't have to act a certain way or move a certain, like you fully, my good, bad, ugly, you know what I'm saying? That I can completely be all of that and not feel some kind of way around you. And I think that will separate one man from another if all things are being equal. That's just me. That's what I need for connection.
Like, okay, if y'all don't mind me asking, am I the youngest one on the panel? I'm 31.
Yes. Well, Martavius, how old are you, Martavius? If you don't mind?
Yeah, I'm 35, so you
Oh, okay.
younger than me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna say this: 35 and down. What she talking about sound good? You feel what I'm saying? Like that's the respectable one. I just did a show about this. Like what grandmama and them told these girls my age now, they believe it wholeheartedly. Like they not trying to hear this provide. Like if you are a provider, what they hear is slavery. Like this is not a game. I brought this girl. We were talking for a while. I decided to make her my woman, right? The same day I sent her some flowers, chocolate, and I sent it to her job. So all the girls at her work, she could flex in front of her, she could feel good, you know what I'm saying? All that good shit, right? The same day she sent me a video on TikTok of a man putting his woman out because he cheated and she challenged him about it. So he put out the house. And she was like, this is why I don't want a man that pays all the bills. Or if he do, I want to be able to work so I can still stack up my money if anything go wrong, aka exit plan. Like this is what these women are today. I hate to break it to y'all. I know people talk talking points and all this. It's the facts. I'm out here, bro. I'm out here. And I ain't no high value dude, and I ain't no Pookie and Ray Ray. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm getting action. It's not a problem. I'm not a bum that asks a woman for money, none of that. And I'm seeing that side of me that wants to provide, which I did for my ex-wife. My ex-wife didn't appreciate it because she was looking at it like I was trying to control her when I'm just trying to do what's best for our daughter. You did what I'm saying? So nah, bro, it's a different game out here. They don't give a damn about your provision unless you can buy them what they want to buy them. And then if you don't do it, another nigga in a phone will.
I would wonder where are you finding these women? That's what I would say.
That's always the question, ain't it?
They everywhere.
Because
They everywhere.
Right. Because what I'm saying, because I was out here. Right. I was out here. Not
How
too.
old are you, humble dad?
What's that got to do with me being out here when you out here?
It got a lot to do with it. How
Well,
old
my
are you,
son
humble
was
dad?
out there and he's 22 and he's been married for 2 years already.
I
So
didn't say
he's
they
been
didn't
out there.
exist. Like I never
Right.
said they didn't exist.
But
It's
my
about
my
where you're
statement was
meeting the
though, where
guys.
are you looking?
Yeah.
Right? Where are you looking? And also, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Thank you.
CJ,
No.
do you believe in the law of attraction?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
So you don't believe that you attract who you are.
No.
That's it.
Okay.
That
I've
mirror.
heard it. I've read books on it. I've had conversations with plenty of people about it. In reality, that's not the reality to me. That's not what I see. You don't attract who you are. No.
Okay, but that's the only way that it happens. Like you can't be with somebody that you're not. Now, let me ask you this: Are you?
You said who you are.
Right?
Yes.
Because
You
you
said
attract who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhat of a yin and a yang. But however, you typically kind of are on the same level.
Frequency.
Yeah, if you want to use frequency or the same energy, it's kind of like being equally yoked. I'll use that word for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you believe in that? If you're equally yoked, then you usually flow a lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you're attracting who you are.
I still disagree with that, but I get your point though.
Okay, so the women that you're attracting yourself to is probably more so yourself than just them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in my estimation, what I've seen, a dude that actually wants to be married moves different, right? So if you want to be married, then you wouldn't be rocking with no woman that just like, hey, we got to go have sex. You know what I'm saying? Why would you rock with a woman like that?
In a time where people are telling me that looking for a woman that is not like that is sexism. Like this is what y'all not understanding. What y'all are talking about, we are conflicted between what I was told by older heads and then what's going on today. Like that's what y'all not getting about it. It's the line is blurred. I'm telling you, the line is blurred. A stripper is supposed to be a good woman today. Like, and if there's arguments all day for it. Now, do I believe that? Absolutely not. But I would be lying if I said I dealt with a woman that may have not been the best choice, but I want to give her a chance, right? Because My mama, a single mother that want the best woman out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gave her a chance. I'm brought up under that. You did what I'm saying? So I get what y'all are getting at, but I'm trying to get y'all to understand that it is a different game out here. There are great women out here. Don't get me wrong. I've met some of them. Don't get me wrong. I just wasn't physically attracted to them. It is what it is. I'm not saying they don't exist, but does attraction not have to happen, or is that
You just said that it don't.
the law of attraction? What you talk about? I attract myself. What looks good to me, a woman that looks good to me.
It's about accepting your point of attraction. That means that anybody that's coming in your sphere is coming in there for a reason. Mm-hmm. And everybody in your life is a mirror. And you could take it or you could leave it. That's about taking personal accountability and responsibility or who you attracting in your life. Mm-hmm. If you change your perspective when you open up. And when you raise your consciousness about what it is that you actually need, if sex, you just said that what women want. The question was, how can a man? What was it? How can a man
improve his?
How can a man separate himself from the competition?
Mm-hmm. From the competition, and you said sex. You went straight to sex. Mm-hmm. And that's your point of attraction. That's where you trying to show your best self. That's where you showing up at. You showing up sexually. So you
did I not say that when I went in her house, I showed her that I could fix things? I didn't mention the rest of it, but I'm saying like that what I'm saying. Yeah, I did definitely say that, but I'm saying I definitely showed things that mattered more. Like I don't value sex like that, which is why I go 6 months at a time without having it. I'm saying I can, but what I noticed with the last situation I was in, and what I've noticed with more situations I've been in, is that sex is paramount. And when I do a podcast, so I talk to a lot of women. The one question I asked them, could you deal with a man that sex was not good, but he did everything else you needed to deal with? Most of them say no, they cannot deal with it.
Well, that's their point of attraction. That's about maturity, because at the end of the day, a woman's primary needs are emotional. So even if the physical sex isn't good, if he can make love to her mind, then he still got her. So he needs some intellect.
Gotta have a man. Gotta have a mind first, though. She got to have a mind first.
If he's a man and he's attracting her, it shouldn't be a problem getting her mind. If he's intellectually stimulating, I'm just saying, for a woman, I'm talking about a woman. I'm not talking about a female. I'm not just like I'm not talking about a male. I'm talking about a grown woman.
I'm smart enough to know I'm not smart enough. You get what I'm saying? So, like, even though I got my perspective, I'm listening, bro. Like, I'm not trying to argue.
Well, no, I'm not either, sweetie. Do I sound like I'm arguing? I'm sorry. That's not my intent. I'm just saying that everything is about your point of attraction. And I'm just saying what you said was the thing that you said, that how a man can separate himself from the pack or the competition. You said sex first, and then your response was. Pardon me?
I did say it in a tongue-in-cheek way, though. Like, I did say, I'm not literally saying that that's what you need, but I'm saying a lot of women value good sex. That's what I was saying. That was really.
But we can only go by what you said. So, like,
but before I said it, I did say it was tongue-in-cheek. But okay, that's fine.
And then I would like to iterate that you also just said that the women that are good women are not attractive. So you need some balance, is what it sounds like, in your thinking, because how much is physicality? How important is that to you in regards to the good woman that you're trying to attract? How important is that? Because I don't care what she look like, eventually that's gonna change. So I'm asking you, like, how important is the physicality of the good woman that you're looking for? Or are you looking for one? Because you could just want to be out here, and I get that too. You keep it a bug if that's what you want. But I'm just saying,
I got to be attracted to her physically, like. Initially, if we can get past that, I'm good to go. Like, I understand asses drop, titties drop. I get all that, right? Like, I'm not a fool, but I'm saying initially I have to be attracted to you. If I'm not attracted to you physically, it's most likely going nowhere. Unless some kind of way we're in these same study groups, or we're going to the same church, and I talk to you and I get to learn your mind, and maybe I see past your physical, looks or whatever. but that's never happened to me. And maybe I'm faulty. I don't know.
No, how many women do you need though? Is it just one?
I need one. Yeah, I need one.
So
I never cheated in my marriage. Yeah.
Or one woman up to your standard that's a good woman and she fine.
Nah, that's been an issue.
Mm.
But I will say this. I've said this on
other than the pipe.
I've said this on the show. I've said this on the show though, that me and my ex-wife were probably 1 year away from making it 10 more years. So there were things that went on in our relationship that I could have done and she could have done to keep it going. That was the closest. My ex-wife was somebody I love. I still love her to this day. You get what I'm saying? So I had it before. You get what I'm saying? But it just didn't work.
So fix it.
No, I'm cool. She got her husband now. She good.
Oh, okay. So you let her get away. That's what they say y'all do.
I ain't going for no cheating woman though. So I mean, that's just kind of hard to get past that one.
Yeah, I get it.
Did you chime in on this, Ricky? Go ahead. How can a man separate himself from the competition?
How can a man separate himself from the competition? Ain't no competition except the man in the mirror. Right? Ain't no competition. How you separate? Be yourself. How about that? How about be you? Because it's only one of you. Yeah, it's a billion people, but it's only one of you. Right? Be a man. I think that's the biggest thing. Be a man. Move in honor. Make your word mean something. Right? Stand 10 toes down on what you believe in. Right? I think that's the biggest thing, is that a lot of men don't stand for nothing. That's why they get ran through so much shit. Because you don't stand for nothing. If you believe in it, you believe it. Like my brother, like CJ, I might be wrong. I might be indifferent, but it's what I believe. Right? And have enough honor to know that when somebody presents you with the truth, you take it in all its glory. You take it in all its glory, because ain't none of us perfect. Right? But be a man. Like, we don't understand what being a man is. You were supposed to be you were supposed to be the thing that stand you the table. A table is sturdy. You got legs. Yeah, you got to screw them legs in every once in a while, right? But you sturdy. You there. You seen grandmama had that table for decades. Be the foundation. Be somebody that people can count on, that you can count on. A lot of y'all can't even count on y'allself.
Did you hear what I said?
That's a goddamn shame. But I digress.
That's what's up. That's good.
Can I say something right quick though?
Yeah.
You know, let's remove my tongue-in-cheek response, right? Even though, to an extent, I believe that. I believe that if you are good sexually in today's, you got a leg up on most guys. I honestly believe that. But how can you separate yourself? It's standing on business. Like, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? That's why with the last chick, that was a 3-4 month situation. Once I kind of realized what she was on, that she didn't appreciate the things that I can be as a husband, she out of there. Out of there. It is what it is. I realized it. You know what I'm saying? But I do think men, to Ricky's point, like, I think a lot of men are really the ones that are settling. I think men are just saying, she give me sex, she smiles, she texts me, she calls me. We consistently do this, so this is a relationship. And he takes whatever she throws his way. I think a lot of guys are upset because they don't stand on their business. They don't stand on principle. That's my personal opinion. So how can you separate yourself? Stand on business, because when you stand on business, you see who really want to be there for who you are.
That's good. Matavis, did you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I'm just everything you guys just talked about, man. I just think about Ricky say, be yourself. That's one thing that I told myself, because like I said, I was surrounded by athletes, so I always want to be with the in crowd. And it wasn't until I told myself acting in character will have you acting out of your character. So be yourself. Stop trying to be like everybody else, because women can spot that from a mile away. And I think once I learned that, and I learned that, you know, there's a reason they put you in this certain box. They put you in this category with everybody else. When my wife first saw me, the reason she said that you was a player, because you hanging out with guys who are players. And it wasn't until I changed my mindset. I started literally You have to be a man of vision, a man of value. You have to stand on that foundation that you're building. And once you start doing that, then you start making conscious decisions. And so, like I told you guys in the previous podcast that we did, like the woman who stood up and vouched me for my wife and told her that I was a good guy was probably the first time that I made a decision to think with the right head, to understand like this isn't going to go nowhere. I see the life that I want, and I see the person we're with. Like, we're not going to build that. So instead of making a decision to act on instinct, I decided to back off. And that was the person that stood up and told my wife, he's a good guy. And that's what made her give me a chance. So for me, like I said, those values, those principles, those morals, have a vision. Women want to know, where are you going? And like, most guys feel like, we always talk about the conversation of being submissive or all of these things. Most women don't follow you because you aren't worth following. Like, you have to step up and be the man. You have to step up and be the leader. And then we find out, now you're worth following. Now they trust the vision, they trust where you're going, and now they're willing to be quote unquote submissive to you. So my thing is, you just have to stick to the foundation, and also just understand it from this aspect. I love that CJ literally putting these things out here, because that is valid and that is true. And I know one of my good friends, he was out here until he had his first kids, and then he started seeing, from my perspective, like, the game changes. So for me, it's like, there's levels to this. And when you're at that stage and when that's all you're seeing, and you're out and you're not married, or you may be divorced and you're trying to figure something out, that's a process that you have to go through. So that's a whole different filter system that you're like, you see what the game is right now. And like you said, it's like a blurred line. So for me, it's like, what I love that you also said is like 3 months, she had to go, because like your values and everything that you had stood on, like, you understood that wasn't going to work out. And I think you have to have that same mindset going into everything. And I also think from just the sex standpoint, for me, I'm married, so I've been out of the game a long time, so I can easily talk about this and tell other guys about this now, because it's a little easier for me to do so. So for me, I think you have to, like, literally, you have to almost set up boundaries for yourself, because sex can make things go a lot longer than they should. You can stay in a relationship long, like, you can be there when it's over. Like, you can know everything is over, you can just still be there and just, like, whatever the case may be. So for me, I think you have to just figure out ways to some type of way set up boundaries, so that sex isn't the main driver of that relationship. That is intellect, it is vision and values, it is the foundation that, this is the woman, this is the man that I want to be with. So I think you got to really get serious, especially at this stage in our life, about the future that you have and the person who you want to build that future with. So for me, I tell my wife all the time, like we're teammates, we're partners. Like, what we're doing, we are building a foundation, and I can't do everything and you can't do everything, but together we can come together and we can build and do our part together. So I think you just have to figure out, is this person who I'm with, are they worth building this life with? And if they're not, don't waste your time, don't waste their time. Just move ahead and find that person who you want to do these things with. So, but like I said, CJ, like, he's in the game, so I'm not gonna tell him how, but I just, from that standpoint, it's like, man, I know it can be crazy out here, because these kids, man, you just see it on social media. We ain't got to talk about it. They post these things, so you can see these things happening. So, like I said, that is valid what he's saying, and I love that he's bringing that aspect to it. But I also love from the standpoint that he's mature enough to still get on platforms like this and talk about these things, to talk about what he's going through, talk about what he's seeing, and also talk about what he's doing, because whether he believe it or not, he's paving the way for the people who are going to go through that. So they no longer have to fight some of the things that he has to fight in this moment, because he's been there, and now he have a platform giving out information. He's opened the eyes of some of the women who may say, hey, the sex isn't good, so I can't stay. Now you can push these women a little harder. Why is it just sex that you're relying on? And so now he's being a vessel. He's being something that can challenge these women in a different way and kind of change their perspective on these things as well. So
I envy y'all, bro. I tell my partner Tez all the time. He's married, right? That's my co-host, right? And bro, like I tell him all the time, bro, like your wife, like what y'all have, I want that so bad. You know what I mean? I got married at 23. You know what I mean? Like, I had a child at 24. Like, I was trying to do that. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. I admit that, but that's what I want, and I still want that to this day. You dig what I'm saying? So when I hear what y'all are saying, it's not that I'm rejecting it. I'm really trying to figure out how to siphon through all of this shit, because I know what the end result is that I'm looking for. I'm just struggling to get there, which is why I'm getting closer to God. You feel? I'm trying to figure it out. But as I'm in this world, I see what's going on, bro. And it can pull you in. I've been pulled in. I'm human too.
Dear, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to tell CJ to maybe abstain from having sex. I get you a grown man, but preserve your energy. Pardon me.
I said I'm trying, but I swear I'm trying.
I'm saying that's important because that's where the mirror is coming in at. You got to value yourself a little bit more, because just like guys feel like the box and we control it and all that, control yourself, because think about what you attracting. It ain't nothing that you want, so it's not even worth it. You need to value yourself more and accept what your point of attraction is, because everybody that's coming into your life, these females that you attracting, if that's what they're interested in, that's a reflection, and you might not see it that way, but just pull back from sex and it'll reveal itself, and you start looking at you and taking accountability and responsibility for how you showing up, and not giving women that's not worthy that opportunity to be with you in that way, because them spirits you collecting. And I don't mean that I don't subscribe to a particular religion, so I'm not saying that for, because I'm trying to convince you that. I'm just saying that those are spirits that you collecting, and they affect you in a negative way, and they getting in between you and what you saying that it is that you want. So if you're trying to get some clarity, maybe abstain for a little while and detox your body, and that'll help with your thinking, and in turn your choices will show up different, meaning your point of attraction. And that's just a thought.
That's what's up. We're gonna get into the last question. You know what I'm saying? And it's been dope, man. Like the perspectives have been pretty fascinating. Last question of the evening. The main topic is who sacrifices more in relationships on average. We got to kind of give that caveat. We're talking in general. We got to say that we're speaking in general terms. Who sacrifices more in relationships on average? And we'll start with you, Uncle Ricky.
What type of relationship?
We can go with marriage.
The man.
Explain, please.
Because if he's doing it right, he's actually giving his life up for his wife and his children. Every effort I make is for the betterment of you, of y'all. I'm out here working all day, breaking my back, no matter what that may be. I'm getting money, getting a little, getting a lot, right? If I put myself through school, right? If I had to hustle, if I had to do this and that, those are skills I had to acquire to take care of you. I look at life like this. Don't nobody know when God gonna call you home. Every single one of us got a battery on our back, a battery meter, like on your iPhone, right? But you don't know when the battery gonna hit zero, right? And a man, if he's doing it the right way, when he's taking on a family, and he's doing his job as what you guys say, a man, every decision, everything he does is for the betterment of his wife and children. Every single thing. Every single thing. With the understanding, I need you to listen to this, sis.
Did you hear what I said?
That if this relationship don't work and I'm married to you, I know I'm getting ringed. I know I'm getting taken to the cleaners, right? I know it so much that I gotta be sure that I pick the right woman that's not gonna do that to me.
Did you hear what I said?
Everything we do is for y'all. I get a job so I can have my stuff together. So when the woman I meet sees me, she can say, hey, that young brother got his stuff together. I think I could rock with him. It's just the nature of the game. We give, y'all take. If you know the military signals and symbolisms, we're the spade. You guys take in, we give out. That's why we shoot into y'all and y'all catch it. You're receivers, we're givers. Right? Yeah, we give y'all life, but that's your baby. Right? It's just the way it works. And the problem with what's going on nowadays is that the simple respect that's supposed to come along with that no longer exists. Men know we get the short end of the stick. We know it. We know it. Why you think these red pill dudes are always screaming high to the hills about I'm by myself, I'm stacking paper, I'm doing this, I'm doing that? Because we know that's the game. But like I said, the game don't change, baby. Only the players. And right now, the players don't respect the game. Y'all don't respect the rules that come along with it. And y'all wonder why y'all get the results y'all get. But what do I know? Just some guy on YouTube. Go ahead, D.
So, let me say this. I don't like how y'all conveniently make everything general when it's convenient. I peep that. I don't like that because that's too convenient. But anyway, I can't speak in general. I can only speak from my perspective because I don't know everybody. So I'll say personally, everything Ricky said, I get that and I respect that my husband has sacrificed to provide for me and my kids. I know that that's why he's done a lot of the things that he's done. But if I'm perfectly honest, and I think that even he'll agree that depending on what perspective we coming from, that I feel like I've sacrificed the most.
Clarify, please.
And I am gonna clarify. You don't have. I'm gonna clarify.
I'm asking.
I'm gonna tell you. Just give me a second. 1 second. So I feel like I've sacrificed the most because, first of all, I have my children, and that affects us physically. And although women outlive men, our bodies break down faster because we have children. So that, not just that, but like I said, everything that I've done up until this point in my marriage, and sometimes even in my relationship before we got married, has been to preserve the legacy of what we mutually decided to create. I'm a extremely creative woman, and my capabilities are unlimited. And most of the time I put those things on the back burner to preserve our collective agreement, which was his vision for the most part. So I sacrificed myself in a lot of ways to be what I needed to be and play the positions that I needed to play for the greater good. And elaborate on what Ricky said in regards to if this don't work out, right? And I'm taking you to the bank, that whole scenario, that you still can't discount that. Because in my heart of hearts, I feel like we live in life. We all here. This is a school, hence the university, right? So we two people that decided to do life together. Who knows how long that's gonna be, and it doesn't have to end or with bad blood necessarily. Sometimes the season is just up. People come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So if we look at it in the scenario that Ricky presented, which was I'm taking them to the bank, I've invested just as much in that bank as he has. Maybe not financially, but as far as relinquishing my own innate capabilities, I've done that. So I deserve half of everything because I put that time in. Now, a woman that's coming in with a man and he was already structured, he already had things together, that's a different story. And me personally, I wouldn't feel entitled to have, just being the woman that I am, if I came in on the ass end and I'm being provided for to the extent that I'm being provided for, I wouldn't deserve that. But I've relinquished a lot of my own personal aspirations. This is what I enjoy, exactly what I'm doing right now, helping other people with telling my personal story. I don't mind being vulnerable because we all human. I could care less what people think. I came here And I've been through a lot of the things that I've been through, so I can share that with other people. And either you appreciate it or you don't. But that's what it is. And that's how we all show up. So I don't believe in a right or a wrong or a good and a bad. But personally, based on my own situation, I feel like I've sacrificed more. Period.
That's what's up, CJ. Matavius.
I mean, honestly, I believe if we reading the question for what it is, in marriages on average, it got to be the man. It's supposed to be. The way a man love is sacrifice. That's what I've been told, and that's when I was a married man. I know I did a lot of sacrifice. Now I'm not saying she didn't do anything, and if you want to put them side by side, I mean, I don't know if it's really quantifiable, to be honest with you, but I do believe that men, we talk like Ricky said it best. We will die for you. We're supposed to die for you. We're supposed to work ourselves, like we're supposed to run ourselves in the ground. Now, everybody out here ain't spiritual, or everybody here don't believe in the Bible. I do. And that's one of our consequences for not getting Eve right in the garden. Our job is to be able to be beast of burden, basically. That's our job. More or less, that's our job, is to beast of burden. I'm supposed to sacrifice for my wife. I'm supposed to sacrifice for my kid. That's what our job is. Like, that's what it entails, even through this new age society. That hasn't gone anywhere. That's still expected of us. No matter how new age these relationships become, the man still supposed to get up when it's a knock at the door at night that don't nobody know what's going on. When bullets get to flying, I'm supposed to sacrifice my life and body to save you. That's the biggest sacrifice. That ain't no competition. I don't look at it like a competition, but if we talk about what's a bigger sacrifice, I'm supposed to die for you and be okay with it. I go into it knowing that. I went into that with my marriage knowing that. And to be honest with you, if I'm out with my ex-wife and my daughter and something happens, naturally I'm doing that shit. So that's why I say, yeah, it's definitely, we talking sacrifice. The men are supposed to sacrifice more in marriage.
On you, Mr. Young.
Yeah, I would say on average, men, because that's your job. And love to me is more than just sex. Love is, when we talk about emotionally or relationally, a lot of guys don't like to talk. They don't like to do a lot of these things, but you have to compromise that. And you have to die to your pride. You have to die to these things to meet the need to your woman, of your woman. But I would say just like, I'm gonna go with Dia. Like, in our experience, my perspective shift 2 years ago when my wife gave birth to our twins and she almost died. And that's when I came to the realization, like, she almost lost her life giving our girls life, and she didn't want any more kids, and I wanted one more kid. And so when that happened, and just me watching her like literally bleed out, losing over 80% of the blood in her body for something, because I wanted one more kid, and we ended up having the twins, and just watching that whole process in and out of the hospital for like a month, like so many different things, and ended up losing our uterus, like so many different things like that, literally go into like emergency surgery, and she didn't want it to happen. And then I had to be the one to tell them it's okay to do it. And for me, that was a moment that kind of like made me appreciate everything that she had to go through with just the pregnancy. Because I think before it was like, you know what, you get pregnant 9 months, you don't have to get to have wine. Like, that's not a big sacrifice. But like when it came to that, and just seeing the left, like, out, that was my mindset. But like when that happened, like everything shifted to like the seriousness of it. And I think once that happened, a lot of women start reaching out and telling my wife about their testimony, about their story and what they was going through. We had no idea, like, the chances of like women bleeding out or just these things happening post-pregnancy. And I think it just kind of opened up my mind to like what's going on within that body. And I think it just shifted, my mindset to like, what women have to go through to give birth, to continue to build and grow their family in that type of manner. So I think just from that perspective, and just talking sacrifice and the way and what they have to go through, that just shifted everything for me. And like I said, that just is the experience that we had, and it just kind of shifted everything for me. Because like I said, being there and not being able to do anything but to hold her hand and pray, like it just didn't feel like at the time that you was the one who was doing the sacrifice. And I feel like she was on the altar and I'm sitting there delivering her, giving her over to God when I really didn't want that to happen. I just wanted to have one more kid to complete our family. And she ended up almost dying from that. So, like I said, that was an experience that probably most people won't experience, but I think I had to go through that to kind of open up my eyes to give me a greater appreciation for my wife and also just for our kids as well. And I think that's why I just are so intentional with our kids, so intentional with our marriage, and investing and continue to build and grow and understanding. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't know everything, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to get on here and hear from you guys' perspective and take what you're talking about and apply it to my life. Because like I said, I'm not perfect. I just listen now to the right people and I go out and apply these things because I see the fruit. I see what's working, and that's what I try to do. And it all just steals some like stuff like that happening, and especially with my wife.
That's good. I really appreciate y'all time 100%, because the goal for me is to enlighten people, to give them the game, if you will, from a marital perspective, whether you have been married for a long time, a short time, or you had a divorce, and then as for me experiencing death, everybody has a perspective that can be helpful to somebody else if you provide the information in a healthy way, right? So when I came up with this question, I didn't really have an idea of my answer. I think I had a thought what my answer would be, but as I began to kind of continue to think about it, like I was like, okay, does the person that gives more, is the person that gives, are they the one that's sacrificing more, or is the person that is giving up something, in the sense of like men give things to their wives, right? But women also give up that career or whatever you may want to say, right? However, if you look at it even from a biblical perspective, right, or even just a perspective of submissiveness, in my estimation, I would believe that the person that is giving up their authority, right, of over themselves, is the one that is sacrificing the most in some regard, right? So I would say it's hard for me to pin down one, right? But in estimate, and y'all know I don't like doing that. I gotta choose, right? So if I had to choose, and I would be very detailed. I would say the stay-at-home mom is the one that I would say that sacrifices the most, even though they're doing a very good deed for their family, right? My situation was, of course, I'm getting married June 1st. I'm saying, shout out to my bride Kendra. In my previous marriage, that's what the situation was. She was a stay-at-home homeschool mom, and she had her goals and her dreams and her plan and whatnot. However, she decided to come alongside me and help me build what I had, right? So in my mind, that's her sacrificing, right? I'm yet to marry Kendra, but I can see the things that she does that are very sacrificial, and I have sacrificed as well. But an example for her was like she's a beautician. She took off time from her schedule, right? She said, I'm not gonna go nowhere other than in these times because I know I gotta go pick up the kids. Right? That's her sacrificing money so that I could go make money. So I think every situation is different, obviously, right? And I just wanted to have the dialogue because I think that gets people to think a little bit more outside of themselves. And y'all have done a wonderful job this evening. So I appreciate your time as always. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to CJ. Everybody loved the intro, bro. And so
Nice meeting you, CJ.
Nice meeting you too, bro.
And so it's been good, man. I appreciate y'all coming on. Until next time. No. Gotta tell them. I forgot to do this before. Check out Montavious Young on all platforms. Hey, go subscribe to the channel. Him and his family, they always doing something really dope together. Listen, like that won't get out of my head, Montavious. That's how he always starts his monologues. Right? And then you have Dia. She's working on her her
Podcast.
YouTube, her podcast, right? But you can find her on social media platforms as well. And then you got CJ with the Fi. He has a podcast. Is there a particular day and time that you do that, CJ?
We kind of chilled out on the live shows, but we drop pre-recorded podcast every Tuesday. There's one dropping tomorrow too. All
right, that's a bet. So check out CJ over on YouTube, as well as you can follow him on Instagram. Then you got Ricky. You know what I'm saying? And you can follow him on all social platforms as well. You still doing the truck driving? Have you got back to that yet?
Man, I've been working, man. I've been
too
busy, to be honest. I got you.
No worries, but I think those are very informative type things. That's all. That's why I was asking about it, if you got back to it or not. And then, you know, he if you want to go over there and listen and understand about boxing, that's who you go see, man. Really good dude. And we cool offline, by the way, for those that don't know. You know what I'm saying? And if I text Ricky, it's gonna be a problem. I gotta call him. You know what I'm saying? We can't do texting. We gotta call. So, all right. Without further ado, it's been real. It's been good. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
Deuces.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.